All right, so what is the administration doing to prepare for the summer?
Well, there's lots. Before I answer that question, my congratulations to you for outstanding communication students for your article on Chris Brinker. Good job.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
What are we doing to get ready for the summer? Boy, there's lots. You know, students sometimes think that universities slow down in the summer, and we don't. We really just kind of change during the summer. Obviously, there's fewer students here because it's summer school, and fewer, if you will, regular attending students take summer school. But boy, there's a whole different sort of activity that takes place, particularly at Central. One set of activities that a lot of students don't realize we have, because again you leave in the summer, is we're a major conference and camp destination. Central Washington University is. So we'll have literally thousands of students and non-students here attending everything from football camp. We operate the largest football camp on the West Coast. Literally 2,000–3,000 students will come to football camp. Girl State, Boy State, a lot of state organizations hold their summer retreats at Central Washington. So there'll be lots of buzzing activity, and that money that we make, it's a profitable activity. That money goes back into the operation of the university during the normal 9 months to help keep our tuition and our fees at a reasonable amount. There's also a lot of community activities that takes place in the summertime. Ellensburg does a lot of sometimes called festivals, and one of the biggest is in town is the Jazz Festival. Mm-hmm. Several nights or several days really of jazz, and that started I think interestingly as a master's project by a CWU music student. And just thought, wouldn't it be neat if, and it started small obviously, and now it's a major, it's one of the bigger jazz events in the Northwest, and it's strongly supported by Central staff and students, and the proceeds from that, of course there's ticket sales for that, and the proceeds from that come back into a scholarship fund for, and then there's others, there's everything from Dachshunds on Parade to the Ellensburg Rodeo, and Central has some involvement in all those activities. Then the other thing we do, of course, is this is the time where we get the campus ready for next year's freshman class. So there's lots of work on the grounds, there's lots of work on classrooms, there's lots of, if you will, cleanup and repair from the academic year. We do what we call Discover Orientation, where those students who are either still a little bit undecided and who want to come make their final decision, or those that have decided to come here but just want to get a leg up on class registration and get into the residence halls and that sort of thing. We do 4 big events for those families on weekends, and we'll have again thousands of students and families who come to Central. So there's just lots of that on top of summer school, and then of course we get ready for next academic year. We meet with legislators about our budget, both our operating budget and our capital budget. We do a lot of the planning for registration, because boy, September's a real busy time when you all come back. So there's a lot of work that's done on budgets and registration systems and so forth.
And you mentioned all the things that happen here, like the camps and just all of that, and how it is profitable. How much does that help the school?
I don't have the number that I can give you. It helps a lot. I mean, it helps a lot is the answer, but the actual dollar amount I don't have off the. But it helps in a couple of ways. It helps in just in producing revenue. So those camps do make money, and that money does go into our general operating fund. But what it also does, particularly in the youth-oriented camps, the cheerleader camps, the football camp, and in virtually every sport. Softball, baseball, volleyball, all have camps. It's a recruitment effort as well. So if a high school student comes here, say to a volleyball camp, and she likes her experience here, whether or not she plays volleyball for us or not, she might still come here as a student. So it helps in so many ways, more than just the dollar amount that comes from those specific activities.
All right, and then let's say 5 years from now, 10 years from now, maybe 20 years from now, what do you envision CWU?
Ooh, that's a good one. I mean, that's a long. You know, we need an hour. Okay, we need an hour just to talk about that. And to some extent, those are different answers. You know, 5, 10, and 20 years are different answers. But we're on the pathway to 20 years. 5 years from now, we're on the pathway 10 years from now. Central is about, well, Central-Ellensburg is about the same size as it is. It's even better known for the quality of education that we provide. And, you know, notice I specifically didn't say we're already given a top flight, but more and more people know that. We have more scholarships to offer our students, so there are more students who are here on either, you know, academic, athletic, some sort of talent-based scholarship, and they are even more engaged civically than they are. They're very engaged today, but there's even more opportunity to study off campus, be that international study or in service learning activities or in civic engagement activities, and we're marching in that direction. Our faculty have a little bit more time to do research. So there's even more research than there is now, and there's a lot now. So we're doing even more of that. And there's even a stronger connection between the university and the city of Ellensburg. There's more businesses that are more student-oriented, and there is you know, that the kind of housing that you all want and aspire to have in the kinds of neighborhoods that you all have, and you have all the recreational activities that you want. Okay, that's and we're building towards that that point. Then I would also say that our centers, you know, are out of Ellensburg centers. Those centers on the west side and on the east side of the state are growing in numbers of students that attend them, but also in the number of degrees that we offer on those centers. So that there's a wider array of offerings that the more place-bound student has. And then I would also say, and we're on our way to there. We're increasing those activities. You know, this year is better than 3 years ago. And then I think the third part I would say, which will surprise some viewers, I think, is that we have even more online offerings. And I'm going to talk a bit about that. The online offerings mean in some cases, in a limited number of degrees, you can get your entire degree program online. And in others, you can either get a few courses online, or I think more appropriately, your coursework is a hybrid, is a combination of class and online activities. Because the technology is there to do that. And it's the world, when I said, how did you interview the basketball player on the story that won an award, you did it via Skype, and he was in Denmark, and you interviewed his coach in Denmark. We can teach that way too, and we do, but we need to do even more of that, because that's the world that our graduates are going to inherit and then continue to expand upon. So I would see the Ellensburg campus, you know, essentially the same size as we are now, but then, if you will, kind of circles around us, growing larger and larger, and then us becoming more technologically sophisticated in all three of those rings, if you will.
And as you said, Central being the same size, is that something you think Central will always be around this size, or do you see it growing significantly? Well,
if you mean Central Ellensburg, I don't know that I would see it growing. I mean, we're now 90. We call it 9,800 FTES, right? Full-time equivalent students. When we begin the academic year in September, we'll be over 11,000. We call it head count. 11,000 bodies will be here, and then of course some graduate in the quarters, so we'll decline to 9,000 something, depending upon the year and how many students graduate early. I could see us growing by 1,000 or so. But we'd have to start increasing physical capacity here, and that's very expensive to do. And I don't know, in today's world, I'm reluctant to say that more students will leave home and go to a place to go to college. My belief is that more students will go to college, but it's going to be in this hybrid environment. It's going to be taking some face-to-face courses and some online courses, we're going to have to offer students a variety of experiences because their life demands it. And so I would not see Ellensburg growing, the campus here growing significantly. I wouldn't see, for example, I wouldn't predict in 20 years we're going to be Ohio State with 50,000 students. You know, we might have 11,000, 12,000 students, but maybe not. Maybe we stay around the 10,000 mark and then we grow at the centers. That's clearly what the trends are suggesting.
And about the online courses, how do you decide whether or not to have a course be taught online or in
Well, that's the faculty do make that decision, you know, not the university at large, but it's the faculty member. And I think it's based on a variety of factors. You know, can I put that course online? There's some courses that it would be very difficult, if not impossible, to put online. There's some courses that are relatively simple, easy to put online. I say relative to that real hard one or maybe even a possible one. Everything takes an effort to put it online. So is it worth the effort to do it? Can I do it well? Is the experience of high quality to the student? And then is there a demand for it? Is there a need for it? Will students take it in that format? And if the answers are yes to those questions, it makes good sense to put it online. If the answers are no, for example, it would be difficult. You know, we have one of the leading music programs in the country. It would be difficult to put the kind of studio or ensemble work. I mean, it may be impossible to put ensemble work online because you've got a choir there and you've got people standing next to each other and they're singing. Can't do that online, clearly. I mean, I'm almost being silly suggesting it. But could you put some composition courses online where the student is you know, posting digital files of their music and the faculty member is critiquing those and correcting those? Maybe you can. So I think that's how it has to be the faculty who drive that.
All right, you said there's a chance that perhaps a degree could be offered all online, you know, sometime in the future.
Well, they are now, actually.
The entire degree.
The entire degree online.
And do those students mostly live in Ellensburg, or do they?
Well, typically they would not.
Yeah.
But you could. I mean, it's possible. One would wonder why they did that, but it could be done. Certainly, yeah. They could live in Ellensburg and get an online degree, particularly if they worked. You know, I was up at an area restaurant in Suncadia, and the waitress was of student age, and so many of the hospitality staff there are our students. So I just asked her, "Are you a Central student?" She said, "You know, I was, but work issues, some life issues that she has, and she said, I just can't go to class in Ellensburg regularly, so I'm taking an online degree." And I said, "At Central, of course?" And she said, "No, at the University of Phoenix." And I think, you know, we could do a better job because we could do that class in a hybrid environment where she had an opportunity to see the instructor, meet with the instructor, but still, if you will, time shift her class activities. And so, you know, she doesn't live in, that particular student doesn't live in Ellensburg, but lives in Cleella. It's almost Ellensburg. So sure, yeah, why not?
What degrees are offered?
You know, I don't know them all. We actually now offer, I mean, off the top of my head, I will miss some. We now offer more online degrees than any other public institution in the state of Washington. One degree that's online is sociology. Another degree that's online is psychology. We call ITAM, Information Technology Administrative Management, is online. There's quite a listing, and they're on the website of degrees. So they're both at the master's level. Our paramedic, I think we have the only online master's in paramedicine in the country online. So I would envision, to kind of get you out to that 20-year mark, that Central will have some programs that have national, if not international, student body following. because we're the best in the country, if not the world, at it, and we're able to provide this very sophisticated, effective online environment. And then we'll have others that are more, state or regionally driven.
All right, and then final question: when you retire, whenever it is,
Yes.
will you, and no more jobs after that, will you retire as the University Central's president?
Oh, I think so. What else would I retire as?
If you just plan on what you have, any plans after this?
Oh no, I don't. Kind of a fantasy of all presidents. It depends on when I retire. But the fantasy of all presidents is to go back to the classroom for a year or two, and to teach. That's how we got into this business, and then various things have gotten us into administration. But every president that I know loves to teach. So there would be the possibility if I, retired from the presidency that I would teach for a year or two, but not if I'm too old, right? Because I'm going to be sitting talking to a student like you about, iPads and convergent media and stuff, and will I still have the chops to do it when then it becomes an important question. But if not, then I'll just retire as president. I don't plan on going to take another job as a president someplace else.
But if it's not too far from now, you could see yourself teaching?
I could see myself teaching for a year or two, yeah. Yeah, I could. Could you see, I'll ask you a question. Could you see me teaching for a year or two? I'm a comm professor, so
really?
I could be your professor, yeah.
Yeah, what comm classes?
Well, I don't know. See, I used to teach advertising and public relations, statistical methods, and if you will, digital media. So digital media, I'm getting a little long in the tooth for. So it would probably be in the area of public relations, public opinion formation, those sorts of things.
I'd take your class.
You would take my class?
I'd take your class, yeah.
Then that's what I'm going to do.
All right, that's good.
Got it? Got it. All right.
All right.
That's our summer activities.